Everyone, me again. Today we're going to be doing some Win32 GUI in C++. So inside of my E drive, I've gone ahead and made a folder called C++, as you should do as well, to keep everything organized. And then we're going to make a new folder called Win32. So what this series is going to be focusing on is creating a standalone C++ application, which is GUI, or Graphical User Interface. So I'll give you an example of that right now. So I'm inside of the Windows Explorer, which can explore files and do that kind of stuff. So as you can see, there's a bunch of user interface buttons right here, where I can hover over them and then they highlight, and when I click on them, they perform an action. They also have icons to go with them, and there's even like a menu up here, there's a title, there's a bunch of other things up here, and at last, there's the minimize button. There's the minimize button. There's the make the restore button. There's also the X button. So, sorry about that. So that's basically what a user interface is. And that's what we're going to be coding in C++. Although it'll be nothing like this fancy, of course. So we're just going to go inside of our folder and make a new item. Wait, nevermind. So you should have 3 tabs up here. So Home, Share, and View. We're going to click the last tab. And make sure that the file name extensions thing, make sure that it's checked, or else this is not going to work. So go ahead and make a new item called a text document, and then we're going to take everything out of here, including the .txt. So we're going to make a file called compile.bat, and this is basically a Windows command file, which is going to execute Windows commands. So type in @echo off on a new line, so G++ space main.cpp space -o space, and then underscore Win32 app, and then we're going to do pause. So I'm sorry I went a bit fast there. Let me save it. Okay, I'm sorry I went a bit fast there, but it's quite easy. So @echo off just makes it so that you can't see all of this code that's being executed, and you can only see the error messages that pop up, which is what we want. And then this is the actual compilation, I think. Yeah. Is that how you say it? I don't know. So you should have your path variable already set. You should have min.gw installed, which is the compiler I'm using, by the way. You should have C++ compilers and all of that good stuff. So what G++ main.cpp-o space underscore Win32 app does, so it first is going to call g++.exe. So that's the C++ compiler provided by min.gw. The next thing is main.cpp. That's the file that we're going to be compiling. And -o just tells G++ that we're going to, and we want to have a custom file name. So after we compile it, we want it to say underscore Win32 app.exe. And then we're just going to pause it, so if we have any errors, we can just quickly go over them and try to make changes. So that's our compile.bat file finished. So you can try double clicking on it, except it's not going to work. It's going to say there's a fatal error, but leave that alone for now. So we're going to make a new file, a new text document again, and we're going to call it main.cpp. And if you notice, that's exactly what our compile.bat is going to try to compile. Yay! So I'm going to open it with Notepad++. You can open it with whatever you want, but I find Notepad++ the best. So I'm going to assume that you know a lot of C++, like all of the syntax and stuff, because I'm not going to go over that. But what I am going to go over is the functionality of our code. So first we're going to include a few stuff. So we're going to include windows.h, and we're going to include tchar.h. So windows.h is the main Windows stuff that we're going to need, and tchar.h is something that we're going to need in the future, but we're not going to need it in this tutorial, but if we forget, why not? So now we're going to make our main method. So it's not int main like it normally is, but it's something of the sort. So type in int win API win main h instance h previous instance long pointer to a string of LP command line and int the n command show. So this is the entry point of your application. What these arguments are. So this is a h instance, which is a handle to an instance. In C++ Win32, you're going to notice there's a lot of h's everywhere, but they're just handles. They're not meant to intimidate you. They're just meant for the sake of putting them there, I guess. So the compiler is automatically going to provide these when we run the program, so we don't have to worry about those. So yeah, let's get coding. So the first thing we're going to do is free console. And what the free console function does is it's going to hide the console, because this is a GUI application. We don't want weird consoles in the way. So we're just going to do that. And then we're going to declare a few variables. So we're going to declare a window class, ex, and we're going to call that wc. We're going to declare a handle to a window, or hwin. We're going to call it hwin. And then we're going to make a message, msg. So a handle to the window is pretty simple. The window class is what's used to register all the windows and stuff. So if you want multiple windows, wait, sorry, that doesn't make sense. So the window class is basically used to register windows and so on. The MSG is basically, I'm saying basically too much. The MSG is the current message that's being processed. So let's say you click a button, then that's going to send a message. Let's say you exit, that's going to send a message. So it's just the current message that's going to be processed. So now we're going to set a few attributes of our window class. So first we're going to set the size. So wc.cb size equals. Then we're going to use the size of operator. W window class x. And then we're going to, so that basically just finds the size of it. Now we're going to set the style of it. Or we can just do wc.style equals 0. I'm not entirely sure what that does, but it works, so why not? And now we're going to declare the window procedural function. So wc.lpfn window proc or window procedure equals windproc. So later on we're going to be defining a function for this. So there's going to be a function called windproc. So if you call your function something else, just know that you're going to have to change this as well. So unlike Java, you can actually reference methods inside of C++. I guess I didn't know that until a few weeks ago, but okay. So that defines how our Windows procedures are going to be handled. They're going to be handled through that function that we're going to make. And then we're just going to set some attributes of it. So wc.cb cls extra equals 0. wc.cb wind extra equals 0. And now we're going to set the h instance. So h instance equals h instance. So by the way, the h instance is a handle to the instance of your application. So I'll explain this using the task manager. So as you can see, there's quite a few tasks open. So each of these tasks has a certain amount of instances. Let's say you open 2 Windows Explorers, and there's going to be 2 instances. So the h instance just refers to the current instance that it's using. I'm not entirely sure what this is, but we don't ever use it, so I guess it's not that important. So that's what a h instance is. Now we're going to set the icon, so wc.hIcon equals load icon. Now we can just pass in null as a parameter. Then we're going to make a ID icon underscore application. So that's a predefined preprocessor for an icon that we can use. So now we're going to set the small icon, so wc.hIcon equals, you can just do the same thing, so I'll copy and paste that code. So what the H icon is, it's the executables icon. So if you open up Windows Explorer, and there will be an icon on it, like for example this is Notepad's icon, there will be an icon on it, and that's the icon of the executable. The SM icon is the icon of the window, so you can have different icons, which is pretty cool. And now we'll change the cursor. So wc.hCursor equals load cursor, no, ID cursor underscore arrow. This is like the default cursor that you see right here. So it's nothing too special. And now hopefully you can see a trend. So we always use load the app to load a specific attribute of our window. We use it most of the time and it works quite well. So just keep that in mind, because if you want to change them later, if you want to load in stuff like images and stuff, then this stuff, if you want to load in images and stuff, then this line of code, then the load cursor, the load image, why am I, okay, never mind, sorry, I guess I got off track. So what I was trying to say was, you almost always use load something, and then you use an ID to define it, to define which thing you're going to load. So that's basically what we're going to do a lot in our future days of Win32. But yeah, so let's get back on track. So we're going to set the background of it, so it's called the HBR background to be specific. Then we're going to, so as I was saying, we're going to add a cast into a H brush, which again is basically a background color. We're going to do a color underscore window plus 1. I'm sorry if this stuff seems uninteresting. It just has to do with a lot of memorization. And now we're going to define the menu. We don't have one yet, so we'll just set it to null. So next line. Now we're done with everything. That is, in registering the window class. So this took quite a lot of lines of code, and it's quite tedious in memorizing it all. But nonetheless, you're going to have to do it. Now we're just going to do a bit of error checking. So if it's not registered, then we want to tell the user that it isn't registered and stop the application. So the method we'll use is register class ex, because if you remember, we used ex right here, so we're going to use ex right here. And then we're going to do and wc, so that's a constant. Sorry. Okay. So we're going to use the exclamation point to make sure that it's not registered. So then we're going to make a message box. So use : message box null. So the first argument is going to be null because we So the first argument is going to be null. The second argument is the string inside of our message box. So window registration failed. Then the third one is the title. We can have a blank title. Then MB underscore. Okay, that's the button that's going to pop up. It's going to be like an OK message. Next, we're going to do return 0. So that's just going to return out of our program, like shut it down, because obviously if there's an error, then we don't want to try to continue with it. We want to close the application. Okay, so now we're done with all of registration. Now we get to creating the window. So the handle to the window is what we're going to be using. It's defined up here. So hwind equals create window ex. And this method takes a lot of parameters. So I'm going to put them on a new line. So the first parameter is going to be ws underscore ex underscore client edge. And the second is our window class name. If you're wait, we haven't made window class. Whoops, sorry about that, guys. So we forgot to make a class name, which is quite detrimental. So we have to make a const char array. So window class name equals my window class. This has nothing to do with C++ classes. It's what we're going to use for the Win32 GUI. So back into here, we're going to do wc.lpsv class name equals window class name. I love it how I conveniently forgot that. But anyway, so now we can put that back in here. And now we have our second parameter. And now we can enter in the title of our window. So this is a normal string, so we can put in double quotes. I'm gonna call it C++ Win32 window because that's what it is. And then we can enter in some window styles. So window style overlapped window. And you can add in a bunch of other stuff like ws underscore sysmenu, but I'm not going to do that yet. So now we enter in the locations of our window, basically the bounds. So we're going to set C to cw underscore use default and cw underscore use default. So these two are the locations of the window. Like when it first starts up, let's say you want it to be the pixel 1010, and you're going to put 1010 here, 10 and 10. So you want it to be 310, like about right here, I believe. Then you put 310. But anyway, CW use default asks your Windows machine where it wants it to be. So then after the Windows machine responds, that's where it's going to put it. So that's most convenient right now. Then we tell it the width and height. So I'm going to make mine 600 by 400, actually 450. And then as the last four arguments, we can pass a null, or handle instance, or h instance, so h instance, and null. So those are the arguments that we use to create our window. So at last, we're going to do a little bit more error checking. So if hwin is equal to null, since we've assigned it to this value, if it hasn't been assigned to that value, basically, then we know that there was an error. So null is not that value, so this is going to work. So if there was an error in this function, which there might have been, then this is going to get triggered. Then we're going to make a message box showing that the window creation failed. It's really useful having detailed error messages and not just something that says error, because it helps you as a programmer, and it'll help the people who use your application, like report any bugs or anything. That way you can fix them, even if they don't happen on your machine. So now we're done with the creation of the window. We're gonna show our window using our ncmd show now, and we're going to update our window, and we're going to pass in our handle to the window there. So now we're going to move on to our next phase, which is a message loop. So in the beginning of this, I was talking about like a bunch of messages coming in. Like for example, if I hovered over this button, it highlights, and if I click on this, then it makes this submenu. So these are all messages getting sent. If I minimize it, it will minimize it. If I minimize this, it will send a message to minimize it. And so on and so forth. So all of this is stored inside of like a stack or a queue of messages. And as Windows processes each one, it's going to take it out of the queue, not register, it's going to dispatch it, and then it's going to proceed with the next message. By dispatch, I don't mean kill, I mean execute what it says. So let's say it was to do this, then it's going to expand the run menu because that's what the message told it to do. So let's get coding now. So while get message, so this ensures that the message is going to be greater than 0. So while get message is greater than 0, and as the parameters into our get message function, we're going to pass in our message. So and MSG, null, 0, and 0. So and MSG is the message that we defined earlier. It's going to try to get a message from the user while it's greater than 0. What that basically does is it ensures that we have a valid message, because normally, let's say you hit the exit button, and that's going to give a message that's equal to 0, not greater than 0. So if it's equal to 0, then that's a quit message. If it's less than 0, then that's an error message. So it means that you haven't coded that. I'm really sorry about. Okay, so it means that you have made an error while you're coding. So that's why you do greater than 0. So now that we have our while condition, we can put the stuff inside of it. So we're going to translate our message. So that basically decodes it and makes it available to deploy. So we're going to dispatch it now. And this is the message loop. That's it. And now, if you remember, we did declare our main method to return an int win API. So we're going to return our message.wparam. So now that's the main method finished. Actually, it's quite big, but you won't have to ever rewrite it inside of your program if you keep it that way. So now, I mentioned that we're going to have a WND proc function, which has all of the window procedures. And so let's make one. So it returns a result callback. So that's what you have to type in as the return value. And then we're going to call it windproc, because that's what we call it up here. And then it has 4 parameters. Our hwind, it has our UI unsigned int as the message, it has our wparam, and it has lparam. So all of these things look quite cool, except we don't know what they are now. So hwind is the window that the message was triggered on. Let's say it was triggered on the main window, then that's what would get passed into the hwind. Let's say it was a button window, then that's what would get passed instead. So we're going to make a switch statement to cycle through the possible messages, and then we're going to return 0. So as the default case, we're going to return the default window proc with the parameters that we received. So you should have one case in your switch so far, which is the default case. But as we go along, we're going to add a few. So we're going to have a wm_close message. So if it's that, we're just going to add in a break here. And if it's a message for it to destroy the window, which is wm_destroy, then we have another procedure. So if it's a wm close message, we want to destroy our window, because that's going to terminate the main window before we can just destroy the program. So, and then we're going to make a post quit message of 0. if it's a WM_destroy message. So what this line does, post quiz message 0, what that does is, in Java, let's say you do system.exit 0. The 0 means that your program has terminated successfully. If your user clicks it, then that usually means that it has terminated successfully. It's not because of a random error or something else. So yeah, that's all there is to that function. And now we can begin compiling it. So we've made our compile.bat file already. Have I saved? You should save yours. So file and then save. Now we're gonna compile it. So you may get a few errors, which I have. So CW use default was not declared in this scope. Let me check why. I'm pretty sure there's only one D, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case. So I'm going to try compiling it again. It says press any key to continue. So in our compiled thing, we said _Win32 app. And what do you know? Our application is also called _Win32 app. So as you can see, we quickly saw a console window appear and then quickly dissipate. And then we had a C++ Win32 window, which was the title. So we have a completely white background, which is what we wanted because we did color_window +1, which made it lighter. And so yeah, we have our C++ window. We coded our very own Win32 GUI application. We made 73 lines of code, and all of it was awesome and fun, hopefully. So yeah, if you have any errors inside of this, make sure that you have added the min_gw compiler path into your system environment variable. So that just enables it for you to do G++, and then it will do it. Instead of having to type c:\min_gw /g++.exe. So yeah, right now it's not going to work for me because I've already added the G++. So yeah, guys, if you have any further errors, make sure that you're using min_gw, because if you're not, then different compilers work different ways. And obviously, let's say you're using Cygwin, for example. Say there's a bug in Cygwin that's not in min_gw, then it's not going to work in Cygwin if we're using the stuff from the bug. Anyway, that's about it for this video. I know this video was long and boring and dull, but C++ and what can you expect? So yeah, thanks for watching this video and see you in the next video, hopefully. Yeah, goodbye.